When I was a little girl, I used to think that my father was a superhero. He was tall and strong, and those were basically the only two things needed to achieve superhero status in my book. But he was also loving and kind, and he protected me from all the villains lurking in the corners of my world, like Graylin Sakaris. When he broke my heart and friend-zoned me in front of my entire second grade class, my superhero took me out for ice cream after school. Chocolate, of course. When my dreams turned to nightmares that woke me up screaming, he would watch Star Wars with me on the couch until I fell asleep again. And on the day my parents finalized their divorce, he played my favorite songs at his guitar for hours, trying to somehow make it right. There were nights in his apartment, in those months after my parents split up, when I would search his dresser drawers while he cooked tacos in the kitchen and hummed familiar country tunes. I was determined to find some hint of bright spandex, of the super suit I was sure he wore to save the town on the nights I was with my mom. What I found instead were little bottles of pills with fancy names I couldn't pronounce, like Vicodin, Zoloft, and Prozac. A few months before my 8th birthday, while my superhero tried to teach me how to play guitar, his arch nemesis knocked on our door. She carried only one weapon, a letter with a bright red stamp across the front, reading words I was too young to understand. Eviction notice. My superhero told me he was going to have to go away for a while, and I thought that meant he was going on some super secret mission to save the world. He was gone for 6 months before I found out that the villain he had been fighting was himself. He had lost. I guess I've always known that the superhero I saw in my father was only a fraction of the complicated man that he was. A man riddled with anger and grief and addiction and depression all mixed together with a desperate need for love. A man so consumed by the evil, unbeatable villains he saw in his world that he saw no escape. A man who makes me scared that one day I'll end up like him. But in all honesty, that's not the man I want to remember. And to me, the way we remember a person says more about them than the way that they died. The man I want to remember was kind and strong and loving and funny and smart and everything I could have asked for in a father. The man I want to remember let me eat chocolate ice cream for breakfast on Sunday mornings and didn't mind when I belted out the tunes to The Little Mermaid at the top of my lungs. The man I want to remember ate pizza-flavored Pringles with me by the pool and sipped cherry Coca-Cola until the sun went down and bought me 2 turtle doves for my 6th birthday. So no, he wasn't a superhero, but he was my father. And he loved me, and despite everything his death put me through, all of the pain and heartbreak and immeasurable grief, I still love him too. I still have some letters from him, from the ones he spent away before he died. He was living at a cabin his family owned in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California, rather than off on the super secret mission of my fantasies, but in a way that makes them better. They remind me that he was real. This is the last letter that he wrote me. Hi, Pumpkin. I feel so much more alive up here. The sky, the trees, the sunrise and sunset. You'll have to get used to my writing and forgive my spelling. I was never very good at school after my dad passed on. I'm thinking of asking your Uncle Ron and Aunt Kathy if I can stay with them for a weekend every few months so you and I can see each other. Nina, I want you to understand that Sean can be a good stepfather to you like Floyd was to me. But the relationship between us wasn't the same as my father, but he was good to me and raised me like his own. I miss him. I was never able to call him dad, and it was okay with him, but sometimes I regret it. Try to look for the good in Sean. Don't hate him for taking my place in raising you. You and I are both on new adventures, and no matter how far away you are, you will always be in my heart. I miss you, I love you, and I'm so very proud of you, Dad. Sometimes it's hard not to let the bad memories of him taint the good ones. Sometimes it's hard to forgive him for what he did and to accept that he's gone. Sometimes it's hard not to see him as a villain, destroying my world with his death, or as a superhero who would do anything to save me, but as a man, a good man, and a loving father who struggled with things that I hope to never understand. and I don't think that I will ever stop loving you. I used to think that my father was a superhero, but sometimes I still wonder if the gun or the depression was his kryptonite.